Good morning, New Eden! Today is January 8th, 2023, and this is the Federation Frontline Report. I'm your host, Frozen Fallout, and my co-hosts are Samson and Nightflyer.
Good morning, New Eden. How y'all doing?
Hey, good morning, Eden. Thanks for tuning in.
Awesome, and today we are going to be reviewing the Minmatar Amarr Warzone, going over how contested the frontline systems are, and digging into some of the Zkill stats for each of the frontline systems and the empires themselves. So let's go ahead and, so the first thing that we kind of want to pull up here is the different factions for... let's see here one second. Let's go ahead and pull up the Minmatar Zkill and just kind of take a look at that. We also have let's see here. Alright, so let's pull up the Minmatar stats for this event here. So faction warfare, the Minmatar have been going really strong with a large increase in the number of characters that they have. So they're up to 780 characters that are displaying on Zkill. Just real quick for characters, go to kills real quick. I just want to see what happens if you just go to the
right here
kills instead of the overview. Yeah, for the Zkill. Okay, so I think.
Yeah, the characters dropped. So this is the last 7 days.
Yep. So, and that's what the other one was. But yeah, so for last 7 days. Oh, that's what it is. Because if you go to losses, so kills is just for our overview is the total number of characters who got on kills in the last 7 days and the people who died. If you go to losses, it'll just show the losses. You know, it's people who have lost ships that are part of the Minmatar. Kills is people that got on kills. So overall, so let's go back to the overview. I think it's total kills that's the one that gets totally fucked up. So 780 total characters that have either been on a loss mail or been on a kill mail that are part of the Minmatar. Then we've got the corporations at 124. Alliances, they're at 18 alliances now. Participate in like 230 different systems. And let's take a look here. For the... let's go ahead and go over all of the top corporations and alliances here. So the top corporations is top corporation is Triad, with 635 kills in the last 7 days. Kill 'em all, let Bob sort 'em out is coming in second place at 446 kills. The Tribal Liberation Force is at 418 kills to make third place. Biohazard is at 321 kills. Hop Light Brigade is at 295 kills. Nomads of Republic at 233 kills. Ratanin Tribe is at 210 kills. Nobody in Local at 207 kills. Incognito Mode at 198 kills. And Nomen Sunt Audacia at 145 kills. So let's go ahead and take a look at the top alliances. Ursha Khan at 1,000 kills solid. Minmatar at 346 kills. Smile and Wave at 239 kills. Minmatar Fleet Alliance at 213 kills. Erectus Mitari at 210 kills. Of Sound Mind at 207 kills. Infinite Pew coming in at 197 kills. Wild Geese at 190 kills, End of the Line at 189 kills, and Real Power Blob Alliance at 113 kills. Let's take a look at some of these. I think where it gets kind of interesting. The ships that they've been using to, I believe this is just going to be that they use to kill somebody with. So the Thrasher Fleet issue comes in at number 1, makes 100% sense. 429 kills. Have you guys been able to play with the Fleet Thrasher as of yet?
I've fought them. I lost Stabber to one well. He had a friend, but they're really tough. So I feel like they're tougher than the Catalyst, but I could be wrong. I haven't had a lot of experience with it.
And I have not flown one yet.
I definitely haven't flown one.
I feel like they are. I haven't flown one yet either, but I've gone up against them a couple of times, and the long range, heavy tank on them, and the ability to kind of kite around and make you chase them, and with them to just lock onto you with their artillery can really devastate the smaller ships. And Fleabach does have a thing that he said here. If we've heard anything about the stellar transmuters, and I haven't heard any recent updates or any videos that have been released by CCP as of yet. Definitely interested to see, because there's supposed to be more about how that's changing the space around what's going on there. Have you guys heard anything?
No, I have not.
Just kind of read into some of the background stuff that they talked about in the producer's letter. I think we can kind of talk a little bit more about that later.
Yep. But yeah, so the next up is the Republic Destroyer, which is the NPC. So lots of fights happening inside of plexes, or specifically small plexes. Of course, with the Thrasher Fleet issue, and the Thrasher coming in second, of course, at 246 kills that it got on in the last 7 days.
329.
Oh, 329. I was looking at Capsule. I apologize. So yeah, 329 kills that it came in the last 7 days. That definitely makes a lot of sense, and I kind of wish that those were our faction's ships, and it doesn't really matter. I don't know why. I mean, to a certain degree, it's easier to get the blueprints, I think, for the Galente. So I always want to just be flying Galente type stuff and getting good with Galente things.
But we have the cock bag fits. We could make some fleet issue cock bags.
Yeah. Well, I think we'd want to modify it a little bit, because I think you want to take advantage of the ability to tank it.
Yeah, well, I feel like you could get almost the same amount of damage with actual tank.
Yeah, we'll have to. I think that's something we should definitely. I think what I need to do is go on a buying spree.
Cock.
Or find somebody in Minmatar to trade with me straight up, Catalyst for Thrasher, because I would love to get a whole bunch of Thrasher Fleet issues. I think that's going to become a fit for sure. Fleabach says, I thought it would be cool if they would let us build our own transmuters so as to flip high-sec systems into low-sec, like Pachim and Pachvin, and they would need to make them phenomenally expensive, and the Jitta constellation would have to be off limits. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think there is some talk about the idea of changing low sec or high sec into low sec to a certain degree, and that's some stuff that, and even 0.0 NPC space possibly might be turning into some low sec space. There's whispers about all these things, so it's definitely something that's on the drawing board, I think. Let's see, what else do we have here? Of course, the Rifter coming in at 223 kills. the capsule is at 246, and the Republic cruiser is at 229. But the Rifter is the next player ship that is actually being flown, getting on kill mails for the Galente. And that has, or for the, I apologize, the Minmatar. We talk normally about the Galente, but and then the Keldari Navy hook bill. That's surprising.
That's an interesting one. Yeah,
that's
to be on there, the top ships.
It is a, I mean, it is a pretty decent ship if you armor tank it, weirdly to say that, and then put dual web on it and just be,
so maybe that's what they're doing.
But there is a lot of interest. I mean, the Keldari Navy hook bill is a good ship. But then, of course, the Punisher. Everybody knows Bait Punisher coming in at 210. The Republic Frigate at 185. And interestingly, and I really love the new Tristan, if you've never flown one. I don't know if that's how a lot of people are fitting them. I know that they do like long range fits and stuff like that. The Tristan is a nice farming ship, actually, in faction warfare, that you can actually get, you can still kill stuff with. Some of the stuff you can do is get like multiple Tristans, assign all of your drones to a Punisher, and just watch people get eaten alive when they come in on you for some reason. You know, like, you just easily are able to just kill one after another. And then the different systems that they have been fighting inside of is Aga at 545 kills, Flosswin at 360 kills, Ardar at 325, Vard at 320. Ardar is at 326, and Vard is at 325. Halua at 299, Kerman Murman at 262, Rashazar at 149, Socied at 63, Egg Helden at 62, and Amamaki actually at the low end of this, still making the top systems, normally known as a very dangerous and high fought system, which is not a frontline system right now, which could take away from it quite a bit, actually, coming in at 60. All right, let's go ahead and switch over to the Amarr and take a look over here. So the Amarr coming in at 802 characters. So comparatively to the Minmatar, they have 80 more characters. Just a very minor 22 more characters. So the Minmatar have 780. The Minmatar coming in at 802. We've got 107 corporations, 8 alliances, and let's take a look at the top 10 corporations for them. The Holy Amarrian Battle Monk at 651 kills, Dirt and Glitter coming in at 599 kills, Radiant Shadow at 503 kills, Red Sky Morning at 482 kills, Task Force 641 at 422 kills, 24th Imperial Crusade at 380, Grasped by the Home at 214, Malefolin at 163, Clan of Scavengers at 126, and the Order of the Garurulur at 124. Top alliances. Looks like they don't fill out the top alliances. Of course, there's only 8 of that they have for alliances. So we've got local is primary at 1,536, very easily clinching number 1. The Amarr Militia, interesting, at 713. 733. Empyrean Edict at 449. Red Alliance at 179. Hysteria at 21. Free Range Chickeness at 7. And the
No, it's
Fallen
chickens.
Order Chickens. Yeah.
No, it's spelled wrong, but it's chickens.
And then the Fallen Order only getting 2, so it looks like they have about really 3 active alliances. Red Alliance, is that Red Alliance? Red Alliance?
I don't know.
Yes, that is Red Alliance. If you click on them, you'll see that is actually the original Red Alliance, if I'm understanding this correctly. So they must have just came in to Faction Warfare, because I see 400. Yeah, they're at just a smaller group these days comparatively to their days of old. Fleabach asks, so do the leaders of these alliances even coordinate their activities or try to execute some strategy, or is it mostly just following the frontline systems? There is coordination between different militias using militia Discord. How well they, do that is kind of, there's an ebb and flow to it to a certain degree. There is some coordination for sure, but on an alliance level and a corporation level is where you're going to get the more finer coordinating efforts that are going to be, well documented, or communicated to each other. There is a lot of coordination that happens on the fly, that through standing fleets and just Discord itself, and just letting people know when there are upwell structures that are under attack, or coordinating sometimes like people are putting up fleets in order to take battlefields and stuff like that. So like quick coordination that happens there. But there is nothing like forcing, like an alliance has a much stronger ability to enforce the concept of communication. Militia is much, faction warfare is supposed to be much more like, you can be completely independent if you want, and a lot of people are independent. And it's really nice with the frontline system that is where we're all focusing. So you'll work with a lot of people that you're not coordinating with inside of battlefields, inside of plexes, and random fights that kind of come up. There is a large discoordinated effort that happens inside of faction warfare that you can sometimes coordinate better, like, hey, you guys should drop your fleet, join us, and help us take this kind of person down. Or sometimes it's just, hey, bring your fleet over. They jump down into your comms and they're like, hey, my fleet is about to engage somebody that has, a bigger fleet than us, but if you guys join us, then we can beat them. Just bring your fleet over to this system, and, we'll coordinate on a lesser level of 2 fleets versus 1 fleet type kind of thing. Is that what you guys kind of experience as well? What about you, Samson?
Yeah, I would say a lot of it is standing fleets and frontline systems and the battlefields especially will drive some coordination. I haven't been on like a fleet op in a while, like where it's actually like something planned. Like the last time that happened was when we were defending a structure, a reft upwell, and that was a big deal, and there's a lot of coordination going on there. But yeah, I would say I would say from my experience, and it's probably because I'm not in the fleets as much, but like the standing fleets are pretty much going on all the time, and you can hop in those. And this is, of course, speaking for Galente only. Hop in those and either to get some kills and do some plexing, or sometimes you run into the battlefields. What about you, Nightflyer?
I would like to see a lot better coordination. I know with Noir, we wanted to take a system for very strategic reasons, and trying to get support from the militia was difficult unless we could guarantee some type of content with it. Then it would come on a little bit more. But for the most part, our Alliance and Corp were pretty much on our own to achieve that specific goal. I said we wanted the system for, like I said, for a very specific reason within the Warzone. But we were pretty much left on our own until we got it close to flipping. And then at that point, they kind of tagged on. But yeah, in short, the difference alliances, I think they are pretty much sticking to their own goals and objectives that they want. They will work with others, but as far as an overall coordinated effort between all of Galmil, there may be some talking, but it is far short of what your individual corp or alliances will actually do. That's in my opinion. I think if we could get better coordinated, or any of the factions could, I think, would stand a much stronger strategic impact in their war zone, because you'd be able to just pull those numbers and everybody focus. So we've got how many different frontline systems right now in the Galente war zone? A dozen.
Yeah, and like Minmatar, which we're going over right now, have like 6 systems, which does focus in, like, there is less of Flea Block kind of brings up, like, there's like historical stuff where people would feign and move stuff and do much more specific, like, we want to take this system, and it's a lot harder in faction warfare to do that because of the frontline system. So you really, the way that it's very slowed down. And because before, if you wanted to flip a system, you could do it in a couple of days if you had no resistance whatsoever. And if you had resistance, it might take you a week. It might take longer, and there might be long standoffs and stuff like that. And depending on how well defended a system was, it would really matter. But now everything's about the frontline systems. You can try and take back line systems, and there is some systems that I saw in the Warzone that definitely a command operations system will actually become really contested, because it flips from being a frontline system to a backline, or to a command operations systems one. So there is still hope of being able to still take that system, because you still get decent LP, and I think that the victory points is not greatly depleted for flipping the system, so you get 100% payout instead of a 150% payout like you do on the frontline systems. So there is some of that can kind of happen, but a lot of it takes weeks, if not months, to, like, OICX just fell for the Galente, and that was like an insane push of just months of effort by the Caldari to really focus down. They abandoned OMS, they basically abandoned all of the south of the war map, and kind of focused really hardcore in that area where we made a lot of gains. But let's take a look over at the top ships. We've got the Punisher at 435 kills. Not surprising. That is, although historically the Amarr have been really strong with Tech 2 ships, but of course with the new changeover.
No more Tech 2 ships.
Yep.
Not in Plexes.
Not in Plexes.
Unless you're in Advanced, and Advanceds are
rare.
Rarer.
And well, the one thing is that there is still play. I think people have. And people will go back over to doing a lot more Tech 2 kind of stuff. It's just you can't chase as hard on somebody. So if they go to another plex and you're in a Tech 2 and they're in a faction, you can't chase them. But you can still set up a medium advanced with a curse inside of it. And ruin somebody's day because and set up your bait. So there is still a lot of play inside there. But the Imperial Navy Slicer coming in at second with 356 kills. Interestingly enough, but probably not interesting to a certain degree, is the Thrasher fleet issue because of how badass a ship it is, making
and
that
it's
third
above
place.
The Coercer.
Yeah, so they've been buying their enemy ships to fling at them because they're so good.
It's a good ship.
I really like how that is interesting though, that when the enemy is buying your ships, it's, you know, like, because they have to have gotten it from, there's no other way to get a Thrasher fleet issue than to get it from somebody in the Minmatar.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess it could sort of be laundered in that way if someone sold it, you know, to like the blueprint to somebody else, and then they built it and then they sold it, but it still comes originally from the other side.
Right.
It's the only way to get it.
Right. Because yeah, and a lot of people will just be buying them probably in Jeddah because those assholes get Jeddah. But
and Fleabach makes a good point. The Punisher struggles with range control, so that they're guessing that the Punishers are not solo kills. Yeah, most likely they're bait Punishers for a fleet or a partner or two.
Yeah, that is, and that's the one thing I don't like about the Punisher as bait, is that it's a really good like tank, and it should hold out for fucking ever for the fleet to be able to get there. But it's not going to hold somebody down properly. It just, you know, it doesn't have that web and the ability to web micro warp drive and you know, scram web AB is like the best kind of setup for being able to hold somebody down. But every other ship lacks in that ability just to survive long enough for that fleet to get there, depending on what you catch. The Coercer Navy issue, though, right below that at 283 kills. The Imperial Destroyer, or the Exeter Navy issue, so buying once again from their enemy, the Galente over here. The Exeter Navy issue is a pretty badass ship. I do really like that ship, and I want to use it more. At 224 kills, the Osprey Navy issue at 200, the Keldari Navy Hookbill at 168, and the Imperial Crusader at 115. And the same kind of systems that you'll kind of seen over in Minmatar, you'll see to a certain degree here. But Flosswind is one of the top systems they're getting kills in at 689. Ardar at 393. Auga at 331. Bard at 306. Ezra at 233. Cormornan at 226. Halua at 218. An interesting one, which is LXQ2 TAC T at 160. And I'm just gonna look into this system here and see, you know, was that an adventure out, or I do see a lot of pandemic horde activity here. Brave Collective. That system just seems to be pretty hopping in the last 7 days. That's over in Ethereum Reach. And then you have Razar at Razuar Shar at 99, and well, it looks like they've been over in our Warzone actually quite a bit, and helping push OICX. I'm guessing that was something that was pretty helpful. In the last 7 days, they've had 91 kills over in OICX. All right, so let us take a look at our first system here as Azara. This is a first frontline system. Let me pull it up here on the map as well. Okay, I think if I can pull that right there. Azara. So this is our first frontline system. Looks like we have a 0.2 system here. Amarr contested by 0.1. So the Amarr Empire own it. The Minmatar have not really been able to push this system. Both of them have a huge amount of advantage that they've stuck into this. So they got 56 advantage from completed objectives and 10 from neighboring systems. The Amarr at 100% for 90% objectives. And that nets them only a 34% advantage at this point. So the Amarr at this point, they're going to have to build those silencing beacons or listening posts. Is that what they are? And I think listening posts would knock down the advantage in this system. Let's take a look over at their kill board here. So the system has had 225 characters that have participated in PvP combat, 82 corporations, 28 alliances, 104 ships with 315 kills in the last 24 hours. Let's take a look at the top 10 corporations. So we've got the Holy Amarrian Battle Monk coming in at 151. The first Praetorian Crusade, 56. Dirt and Glitter at 41. Clan of Scavengers at 35. 24th Imperial Crusade at 24. Tribal Liberation Force at 20. Biohazard Dot at 15. Small Focused Memes at 100. 12. Yes, I can speak. I swear. I swear. The Small Forced Memes at 12. Task Force 641 at 11. And Jerkosaurus's Rex Incorporated 9. For top alliances, we have Localist Primary, of course, coming in at 116. The Amarr Militia Dot coming in at 81. Minmatar Dot at 17. Pandemic Horde making a little bit of last 7 days, little stop in this area for 14 kills. Imperium Edict at 12. Sedition Dot, which is a Galente alliance, looks like it's been over in this area for 9 kills. Nanofiber Tokens at 6. Ursha Khan at 5. Dock Workers 4. And of Sound Mind 4. Let's take a look at, interesting for the top ship here, is actually a battle cruiser, the Harbinger Navy issue, which did not make the overall top for either of the alliances, but this system has seen a lot of action. Have you guys...
I wonder if there was a battle... I wonder if that's a battlefield fit.
That's...
Like a fleet of Harbingers would probably work pretty well in a battlefield.
I've seen us taking out, for the Galente, we've taken out some Harbinger fleet, but not Harbinger Navy issue.
Yeah, well, Harbinger Navy, yeah, because they can make them, right?
Yeah, they can. So I'm guessing, that would be the Amarr, probably.
Yeah, I was just assuming that, yeah.
The Hyena coming in at 40. So the Harbinger Navy issue at 53, top number 1. Hyena at 45. The Executor Navy issue at 33. The Phobos at 32, which is a Tech 2 ship. You can use it's got an infinity point on it. It's got a really long range scram on it. So, interesting ship to see out there though. Purser Navy issue 22. The Keldari Navy Hookbill at 22. The Vedmak at 19. The Imperial... Or no, never mind, yeah. So the Vedmak at 19. The Vedmak is an interesting one to see also in a frontline system, but not too surprising considering how OP and badass the Vedmak actually is. So let's go ahead and go over to Samson for Vard, and let me just give you a quick breakdown on the map here. So that is right next to Azara, and once again, both of them really fighting over advantage here. Minmatar are the ones that own it at 48.6% contested. They have an advantage of 88% objectives completed, 10% from neighboring systems. But the Amarr also have completed 52% of their objectives and have 40% from neighboring systems. So a bunch of so the Amarr have it at 98%, and the Minmatar have it at 92%, giving a net gain of the Amarr having only a 6% advantage versus system, even though they've done a lot. And Samson, if you want to take away the kill board here.
Yeah, so in Vard, we're seeing 580 characters total, 176 corporations, 58 alliances, 170 ships, and a total kills of 732. Our top corporations, once again, Holy Amarian Battle Monk, 132, Clan of Scavengers, 70, Kill 'em All, Let Bob Sort 'em Out, 66, The Congregation at 59, Triad, 51, Hoplite Brigade, 42, 24th Imperial Crusade, 40, Nobody in Local, 36, Minmatar Secret Service, 35, Dirt and Glitter also at 35. The top alliances we have Local is primary, 150. Ursha Khan at 99. The Amarr Militia Dot at 89. Hidden Leaf Village Ninja Ass in Squad Esports at 59. Of Sound Mind 36. Empyrean Edict 27. Infinite Pew 25. Minmatar 24. That escalated quickly. Dot 21. Pandemic Horde showing up here at 18. So there must have been some Pandemic Horde op or something, or maybe they're with somebody.
I think they are participating. They've got like a an alt alliance or corporation. I don't know who it is though.
Okay, yeah. So they're probably bringing in
somebody.
alts to do things. But top ships, no surprise here. Thrasher Fleet issue 139, and in second place, as it has been, it seems so far that we've been going over everything. Courser Navy issue at 80, Republic Cruiser 62, Republic Destroyer 58, Excura Navy 55, Caldari Navy Hookbill 54, Punisher 53, Rifter 39, and then you got the Republic Frigate coming in at 38. Yeah, so this is a Minmatar control system.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at Aga, and I'm going to pull it up here on the map. So Aga is right next door to Vard on the map from the look of it, if you were looking at it Stellaris-wise, but does not actually connect to Vard at all. Nobody has a fucking advantage in this system. Not a single person, because they have both maxed out their bar at 100% here. It is 27.9% contested for the Minmatar. So the Minmatar own it. The Amarr are trying to attack it. And it does seem like, I'm just going to take a peek here over. So both the Amarr systems that are connected here, the two Frontline systems, are barely contested at all. And the Minmatar systems are quite contested comparatively. 27% for Aga. Vard had the 48.4%. So Minmatar a little bit on the back foot, it looks like, in this area at least. Both of them going really hard on their objectives though, and really trying to get that advantage system to go to work on their favor. So let's go over to Nightflyer to actually go through all of the Zkill board stats for this Aga area.
Well, we got 737 characters, 214 corporations, 60 alliances, 152 ships with a total of 1,053 kills. Do we care who the top characters are? Somebody might. Ninlara's number 1 with 66 kills. Good job for him or her. Aliyah Adana, 49 in second place. Alexander Zitsev, 48 kills. Bappas or Grandpa is 37. Dark Rattler, 35 kills, right in the middle there. Adrian Lawrence, 33 kills. Plutonium 86, 30 kills. Anna Tesla, 29 kills. Sticky Mickey, not to be confused with Stinky Pinky, is 29. And Burn Diggity Goad is 28, rounding up the top 10. Our top corps, some familiar names here. Triad, 115. Eve Corporation, 325, 68, 947 with 85. Number 3, Task Force 641 with 84 kills. Red Sky Morning, 79. One behind them, 78 kills, is Kill 'Em All. Let Bob sort them out. 49th Imperial Crusade, 78 kills. Digital Ghost, 70 kills. Number 8, really Power Blob 61, tied with Biohazard for 61, and Hoplite Brigade, 57. Top Alliance, number 1, Ishra Khan, 190 kills. Amarr Militia with 96, Imperium Edict with 89, Infinite Pew, 66, Winmar, 65. Really Power Blob Alliance, 61. Pandemic Horde, pop it up again, 57. Local is Primary, 56. Wild Geese, 51. Smile and Wave, number 10 at 47. Our top ships again is going to be the Keldari Navy Hookbill with 146, but tied in first place with the Punisher at 146. We got Republic Destroyers, 127. Thrasher Fleet Issue, 122. Imperial Navy Slicer, 103. I'm not a fan of the Imperial Navy Slicer. They seem to kill me a lot. The Fed Navy Comet, 93. I think that's the first time we've had that one pop up on these kill boards.
Yeah, no, that's the first Fed Navy Comet for sure.
Because I look for it, because that's one of our go-tos. So, the Exeter Navy Issue, 92. Capsules, 86. The Cursor Navy Issue, 75. And the Cormorant Navy Issue, pulling up the top 10 with 69 kills.
Yeah, no, and I think that that's a big testament to just how much we're seeing just Navy ships being used for the most part. Almost everything in the top 10 are Navy or T1 ships is pretty awesome.
But I'm wondering if that Navy Hookbill has to do with LP sales or people cashing out their Keldari LP for those Hookbills. I mean, they're a decent ship. I don't like going up with them in anything T1. A Kestrel, if the pilot doesn't know what they're doing, I could probably go up against the Hookbill, but 9 times out of 10, if I see them warp in on my thing and I'm in a Kestrel, I will take off.
And Mike on the Edge, also thank you so much for the raid. That's super awesome of you. He does RPing as a journalist in EVA, and today's story was me going live into action and covering it as it happened. Awesome. We need more of that in EVE Online. I love that kind of shit.
We need absolutely. To get it the man in the streets. We got to have that.
Yeah, we need to do that more. Yeah, so interesting system for sure. And let's go over to Koromonen. Is that, how would you guys say that? I don't know. Koromonen. Yeah, I like that. Better than what I said. Koromonen. And Koromonen, of course, is just right down, and this is the one that's connected to Aga. And it's only 5.2% contested. It is controlled by the Amarr. It has only an 8% advantage in the system, not from want of trying, though. Amarr hold 100%, or sorry, Minmatar hold 100% of the advantage, but the Amarr not trying to slack too much here, getting 92% of the advantage. So Minmatar still have a minor 8%, and that only affects how much victory points that you get towards flipping the system. So the more victory points that you get towards for something is the more that the system starts becoming either contested or decontested. But the Amarr seem to be doing a really good job here, keeping up with that. And keeping a defense, which interestingly enough, I just kind of want to throw this out there. Have either of you two been running into empty ships? Have you been able to kill an empty ship in faction warfare yet?
Not in a Plex as of late. I've only seen them like on gates, not related to faction warfare. Like I haven't seen any empty ships in Plexes anymore.
What about you, Nightflyer?
Not in a while. Sometimes you'll see the Corvettes and stuff just randomly floating out there. That's all I've seen.
Yeah, and those Corvettes aren't in actual faction warfare. So I do have to say that I think that this expansion, as much as I despise defensive plexing, in the sense that I think that there should just be plexing, like that, just put both the rats in the system and have them shoot at each other with, they don't have enough firepower to kill each other, and then whoever comes in and a player kills one of the rats. But it was always more of like, I just was sick of people not being in combat capable ships when they're doing defensive plexing, and I feel like this update has really pushed people to be like, okay, if I'm gonna defensive plex, I should probably do it in a combat capable ship, because the likelihood of getting disturbed and pushed out of a defensive plex is much higher now if you're on a frontline system.
No, I made the
That's the other
mistake
thing
of
too. Is I haven't really done any plexing in non-frontline systems really. So I wonder if there's any empty ships in those.
I mean, those I could see throwing an empty ship into, because you get
But it's
shit
like
for your
it's
LP.
worthless, right?
Yeah, it's not.
It's like
and it
worthless.
doesn't
So
mean
they're probably
anything.
not even doing it then.
Right, and most people aren't offensively plexing outside of the front lines, besides maybe some,
Yeah, that's what I
minor
mean,
stuff out there. You were gonna say Nightflyer?
Oh, I made the mistake of defensively trying to plex a system that was not contested, and so after sitting there for 10 minutes, I got
LP.
nothing.
Yeah.
I got nothing for my efforts. So
Yeah,
That's good to
be
know,
careful
right?
if you go in to plex something that's like a 0.1 or a 0.2, and it gets deplexed to non-contested before you finish your site. So big waste of time.
Yeah, I think that that's something that is kind of interesting, because although the Amarr, as we've been seeing here, have a lot of, they're definitely keeping their defensive plexes down. They don't, or the defensive systems trying to keep them as non-contested as possible. But by doing so, you don't get LP for defending them. And that is something that is taken, I think, into account. When a system is at 80% contested, you're getting a decent amount of LP. You're getting approximately like 70 or 60% of the LP that you would get for doing an offensive plex, and you can do. So what I like to do actually is take a comment into defensive plexing and go do the opens and the large and stuff like that. And if you get pushed out, that's fine. But you can find some good PvP that way as well. Capture people and call in the fleet and stuff like that. But yeah, let's continue on here into looking into the different characters and stuff of the system. So there are 538 characters that have participated in PvP in the last 7 days in the system. We have 188 corporations, 54 alliances, 166 different ships, with a total of 632 kills. Let's look at the top corporations here. Digital Ghosts at 102 kills, Red Sky Morning at 79, Nomads of the Republic at 79, Task Force 641 at 68 kills, Really Powerful Blob at 55, Biohazard Dot at 44, Federation Defense Union, interesting, so somebody must have either been for, a few people, or somebody must have been over in that area from the Galente NPC Corporation. Came in at 32, just above the Tribal Liberation Force, actually, at 30, and the 24th Imperial Crusade also getting 30 kills, and the Nomania Stunt Odysseia at 28. For the top alliances, we have the Amarr Militia Dot at 90, Smile and Wave at 83, Imperium Edict at 70, Really Powerful Blob at 55. Really Powerful Blob Dot Alliance. Ursha Khan at 52, Minmatar at 46, Red Alliance at 26, Localist Primary at 22, Pandemic Horde at 14, and Wild Geese at 11. So yeah, there's definitely stuff going on over in that area. Let's take a look here at the top ships. We've got Thrasher Fleet Issue at 80, the Punisher at 73, Imperial Navy Slicer at 72, Caldari Navy Hookbill at 68, Capsule at 59. So Capsule is just when they've got destroyed but still got onto the kill nail. Purser Navy Issue at 50, Osprey Navy Issue at 42, Republic Fleet Firetail at 41, Exeter Navy Issue 37, and the Federation Navy Comet coming in last, making its second appearance for 35. And then we do have some chatter that's going on in chat here, so let's go check that out here. So Fleablock says, I don't know how much solo you guys do, but what happens when a beam slicer fights with something with missiles? I truthfully don't know how. I don't fly slicers. I have gone up against them to a certain degree, and I've gone up against a lot of missile ships, but I don't really fly missile frigates. Do you guys have any insight on what you think might happen in that situation?
I generally don't engage slicers unless I'm in something that has rapid lights or light missiles, because
The range.
The range and slicers tend to just fly all over the place, and they're really hard to hit. It's really hard to get. It's a lot harder to get transversal and stuff like that on them. But like if we're flying, for example, our stabbers are pretty good against slicers. Obviously that's a cruiser, but
I would say like the Talwar. The Talwar.
Yeah, the Talwar would be a good counter, I think, to a slicer, because you could have those light missiles just hitting it wherever it is. Yeah.
What do you think, Night Flyer?
Against that specific ship, yeah, the Talwar or something with missiles would be good. As far as beams go, I mean, I've had some luck in like the Tormentor against some of the smaller T1 missile ships, but it's going to come down to range, speed, and whether you can get the transversal on them.
Oh, and Mike on the Edge says his paper is called the Toilet Paper. Even have an in-game channel covering adventures I will be going into. That's awesome. Yeah, I might have to check that out. That's an interesting name, fitting for Eve. And the channel's Jebai Accent. And so Fleablock is curious about two kitey ships when they fight each other, opposite groups versus missiles and stuff like that. A lot of that, just the thing about two kitey ships going at each other is that they don't do a lot of DPS, and they each mechanic kind of comes into why missiles and turrets have problems with kitey ships, because missiles have a problem with Kitey ships is that they're going so quick. So it's their signature radius versus the speed that they're going. And Kitey ships are always going to be going really fast, and sometimes if you're far enough away and pulling away, stuff like that, you can pull away from missiles and get a decent amount of speed where you might actually be able to outrun them because they only go so far. And that's if they go 60 kilometers, that's the amount of speed that they have in order to get to 60 kilometers. If you're chasing after them going 4,000 kilometers, they're going 4,000 meters per second. You're going 4,000 meters per second, and the missile has got to catch up to them. You have to be within half that range, if not even more, in order to actually hit them with your missile. But then you have tracking issues with turrets and stuff. So a lot of that comes down to just who's a better pilot, and who knows how to put the game mechanics of what happens when you're trying to hit somebody with a missile and what's going on when you're trying to hit somebody with a turret and the means there. Is it possible to have a situation that is just manually piloting contest? Yes, and yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about. But transversal is a double-edged sword when it comes to turret versus turret. If you're getting really good transversal on them, you're getting really good transversal on yourself. But there's you can play that with manual piloting, actually. But it's really hard. It's something that I'm getting more into the concepts of how to kite and do these kind of battles where it's a big kiting, manual piloting kind of effort onto each other. A lot of the times you come out of that fight with nobody winning. Just that somebody knows that they're going to lose at some point.
A lot of times with kites, if you're both kitey, then someone just burns away and gets away. It's really hard to hold each other down in those situations.
The slingshot maneuver, stuff like that. Alright, so let's go ahead and head over to our next system, which is Flosswin. So this is a pretty famous system, and I think I have to go to the north here. Yep, so Flosswin is way up here. So what I'm going to do really quick is I got to move where we are. And look at that. Magically, we are down here now. So Flosswin, let me get that up here and go over the contested stats. So this is controlled by the Amarr Empire and is at 59.8% contested. Nobody has an advantage because they both have done all of the objectives that they can, and the neighboring system bonus that they have for basically they've maxed it out at 100, and looks like there's some solid fighting that's probably happening over in this system. Let's go over to the Zkill to find out.
So in Flosswin, we have 638 characters, 180 corporations, 52 alliances, 194 ships, and 1,134 kills. And in the top corporations, Dirt and Glitter at number 1, 280, Radiant Shadow, 228, Holy Amarian Battle Monk, 3rd place, 176, Triad, 150, Kill 'em all, let Bob sort 'em out, 107, Order of Garulor at 98, Red Sky Morning, 93, Ratini Tribe, 83, State Protectorate, 83, and the Hoplite Brigade at 65, rounding up the top 10 corporations. And for the top alliances, we have Local is Primary, 583, Rushra Khan at 217, the Amarr Militia 107, End of Line 86, Minmatar Fleet Alliance 84, Electus Matari 63, Minmatar 57, Rote Capel 53, Wild Geese 45, We Form Volta at 43, haven't seen them in a while. And top ships, once again, Thrasher Fleet Issue at the very top, 189. Punisher coming in second at 180. And then the regular Thrasher coming in third at 139. Obscura Navy Issue, 134. And then past the NPCs and capsules, the Rifter at 98, an Imperial Navy Slicer at 98, the Scythe Fleet Issue 88. I have fought a few of those. They're a fun little ship to fight. And yep, and that rounds up our top ships for Flossus Win.
I'm always scared by this Scythe Fleet issue. It just, I don't know why. It's just like there's a little weird terror that happens in my heart whenever I see
It's
the
a name
running around. It is. It's a nasty
Scythe,
name,
right? Because like even the regular Scythe is, you know, it's not even
It's a healing ship.
Logi. Yeah, but its name is Scythe.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a weird name for a Logi. But,
I love
yeah.
Scythes. I've ever since I think Chrono Trigger is one of the games that really got me into Scythes with Magus and the scythe that he had. But just the death having a scythe.
Fun fact: I actually own a real scythe in my garage. It's freaking huge. It's like 6 feet plus tall, and the blade is like 3.5 feet long, and it works. I mostly use it for Halloween at my house, but yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, originally it's just for harvesting, it's like for cutting down wheat, right? But there is war scythes, and that's what the death uses.
Yeah, the one that I have is a farm scythe, but it looks the same.
Yeah, there's not much of a difference, and they're very unwieldy actually. If you really wanted to kill somebody with a
no, it's not. It is not practical.
Right.
Unless it has magical soul reaving powers.
Oh right, yeah, absolutely. And then let's go over to Ardar. Pull that up here. Ardar is right next to Flosswin, connected to it. And there is no advantage going on over there. Both of them have maxed out the potential for advantage. I don't think we're doing that in the Galente Warzone as much. They seem to be, and from my talks with them, since the change, they seem to be much more into this getting strong advantage into the system, which, in the end is resulting in neither of them getting advantage in the system. So, and then the Minmatar Republic is the one that owns it at 33.0% contested currently. So only slightly less than what Flosswind is currently contested. And let's go over to Zkill to see what kind of cool action is happening over there, though.
We got 640 characters, 176 corporations, 44 alliances, 157 ships, for a total of 828 kills. Corporations, we got Radiant Shadow with 167, Dirt and Glitter 129, sorry about that, Triad with 98, Ratani Tribe 81, Kill 'Em All, Let Bob sort 'em out with 73, Tribal Liberation Force 72, Biohazard 66, Rage and Ruin 55, tied with Incognito Mode 55, and Hoplite Brigade wrapping up the top 10 with 54. Top alliances, Local is Primary 264, Urshikan 143, Minmatar Fleet Alliance 83. End of line 78, Minmatar is going to be our number 5 spot at 67 kills, Rogue Capel 50 kills, Amarr Militia 42 kills, Electus Matari 41, Pandemic Horde popping up again at 29 in the 9th place, and top 10 Wild Geese 25.
Rogue Capel, I haven't heard that name in a while. Was there any other systems that Rogue Capel was in?
Previous one, Flossus one.
Flossus one. So they must be up in that northern area doing some stuff. I remember when they were like a real badass super alliance. I don't know if they're still that way. I haven't heard much from them recently. They made some really good videos though.
Yeah, I think that's where I know them from, is videos. A lot of nullsec stuff. Our top ships in this system are going to be number 1, Thrasher Fleet Issue, 140 kills. The regular Thrasher, 102. So there you go. Rifter, 98. The Exeter Navy issue, 89. We'll go down to the Punisher with 68, Thrasher with 67, the Scythe Fleet issue in the 8th spot at 64. Tristan popping back up with 50 kills, and the Osprey Navy issue with 46.
So yeah, that rounds out the top, or the 6 faction warfare frontline systems for the Amarr Minmatar Warzone. Oh yeah, and Rokapel was in the AT, I believe. Yeah, definitely. Fleet Block brings that up. All right, and we did get a piece of news from Riley Reese. If you want to go over that, Samson.
Yeah, so take it with a grain of salt. This is intel that comes from the Caldari side. Riley Shark Reese has informed us of a infamous AWOXer who most recently fed 4 Draugrs, but that's besides the point. So Flower Fallen is AWOXing on the Caldari side, but basically Riley was contesting that we remove at least 2 bill of losses from the Caldari side because of this AWOXing and the fact that they had to take it out and fed 4 Draugrs. But as far as I'm concerned, or as far as we're concerned, I marked this character AWOXer as red, just in case they, as individually, just in case they decide to switch sides, because that was one of the warnings that Riley said, is that perhaps, this person would switch to Galente and start AWOXing on our side, potentially.
Does this guy have we pull him up on Zkill, actually? Let's take a look.
Yeah, we can pull up. Go.
Yeah, I know they're a streamer. I've seen him stream a few times.
He's taking that I'm Frozen Fallout. This guy's Flower Fallen. We both FF people.
It flies a lot of Draugrs and
Yeah.
AWOXes, apparently. See, because these are all not all, but there's a good amount of that going on here. It looks like.
Yeah, it looks like he's killing. What is he in his own corporation? Yeah, he's in his
recent.
own corporation. He's a
COVID hunters.
He streams on Twitch, so yeah, he's out there streaming on Twitch.
Probably,
So,
I'm assuming too that they probably did it for the, for the memes and for the stream.
For the views, do it all for the views.
Absolutely.
I am surprised actually that there isn't more AWOXing going on.
Yeah, so it's a perfectly valid form of gameplay, at least as far as CCP is concerned. But I honestly feel like AWOXing is the only thing, even as a pirate, as a privateer or pirate, whatever. I still feel like AWOXing is not cool, and you will be executed on sight for any attempts at AWOXing, and I have executed AWOXers in the past, so.
Yeah, the only time that AWOXing is the only time that it's valid is that there is an overview set up where if you've got your view so that you see pirates as more important than being in militia, that you'll see a pirate and you'll start attacking them.
Yeah, well, that's a mistake. Yeah, but when they don't heed the 4 or 5 warnings in local or whatever, then I think you just shoot them.
Yeah,
at that point.
But yeah, there is minor forms of AWOXing going on, just to, because of farmers and stuff like that that's going on.
Yeah, because of seagulls, especially.
Seagulls, yeah, that are just, we're gonna bring in 50 of our alts into one of the battlegrounds just to force all of us to get all, and although that it's not super prevalent, but it happens.
No, it's not too prevalent, but yeah, that's just a bit of a report came in from Riley today. Just wanted to share that with you guys. But I believe I'm gonna have to drop off before the end of the show here. So thank you for having me. So I will see you guys later.
Have a good one, Samson. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Later.
See you, brother.
All right, and then we are going to switch over to the producer letter, and we're going to let Aurora kind of give us a breakdown here. So this is the producer letter from Uprising to New Conquests, and this is something that kind of was released by CCP, kind of go over some of the successes that have happened since the Upwell and the Uprising expansion, and what's going to be happening in the future. One of the things is that there is going to be 2 expansions this year, and one of them, the one in the first, or well, I don't know if it's an expansion, but one of the main things that they're going to be looking to do is allow people to join faction warfare without having to leave your corporation. So that's going to be a huge boost, I think, to faction warfare, as long as they can figure out how to do it properly. And let me go ahead and bring that on up here. So 1 second.
Yeah, I think Samson had it on his.
Nope, I've got
screen.
it
You
too.
can grab it on mine if you don't have it.
Nope, I've got it. So I've got it so that they can see as it's reading off what's going on here. So why am my brain? I swear I can do this. There we go. All right.
Producer's letter, from Uprising to New Conquests. Uprising Capsuleers. It's an incredibly thrilling time to be a Capsuleer in New Eden as we embark on a new year in EVE Online. The front lines have been buzzing with activity and some big shifts are happening in the political landscape. Since the launch of the Uprising expansion in November 2022, the activity in New Eden has exceeded our wildest expectations, with active player counts swelling since release and, more importantly, pilots being more active in space. Particularly notable has been the sharp 75% increase in PvP kills in low sec, as well as the 11% PvP kill increase in high sec, despite the additional restrictions on ganking and changes to Abyssal Dead Space following the release. This has pushed industry and mining significantly, with Navy ship production rising 14,709% and capital manufacturing seeing a 34% bump. Now that we have entered a new year and are marching toward EVE's 20th anniversary, we wanted to take a moment to reflect on last year's latest expansion and look ahead at what is happening
with
next
these
in New
producer
Eden.
letters. So these are put out
Uprising,
by
the
CCP
future of war
execs. This is
Making
going to be
factional warfare,
CCP.
FW, an exciting area of space filled with action and intrigue, was one of the big things we
I
aimed to
can't
address in
hold my
Uprising.
push to talk. And so this is going to be
Territory
Ratati, and I
control
believe
is a
Berger was in on this
foundational
one
aspect
too.
of EVE Online, and we wanted to make
So
it easier
they
to
are
find
not
and
game
participate in the action.
makers. These are the
Introducing
or
Frontlines
programmers.
was the
These are
first
the
big
makers.
step in
So
evolving this
they may
fundamental
not have
system and making it more
you know,
dynamic.
information on like new
Along
ships
with
and that kind of
Frontlines,
stuff.
new ships entered the Warzone, existing
they-
ships got
well, they'll cover what's
rebalanced,
in this letter, but
complexes
that's
were
who's
reworked
producing
to
it. I
make
just
them
wanna
fairer
make
and
sure
more
that people
fun,
understood the
and all new
difference
battlefield
of
sites
who
were
these people
introduced.
are.
Yeah.
Together, this has created even more ways for players to get involved in, and be rewarded for, diving into the action. As mentioned in the Factional Warfare Dev blog that was released in December, the next big part of the FW equation is already underway. This next update, coming in Q1, will introduce a feature we're calling Direct Enlistment, which will allow players to join FW without leaving their corp and alliance mates. Not only did the Uprising expansion overhaul factional warfare, but it also opened the door to personalization. As a Capsuleer, flying your colors allows you to celebrate your allegiance while sending a message to others about who you are. The new Paragon Corporation introduced a new currency, Evermarks, along with new agents, stations, and missions that enable you to acquire corporation and alliance emblems. The real beauty, however, is that you cannot simply buy your way into these accolades, you actually need to undock and play. This results in more pilots in space, more opportunities for conflict, and more budding industrialists and traders filling the need created by Paragon. As we move forward, we will add more ways for you to earn Evermarks through your in-game actions. The most recent example of this being the daily login rewards from the Winter Nexus event. The launch of Uprising saw emblems become available on over 100 ships, with a further 186 new ships added on the 15th of December. We will continue to roll out emblems for more ships with the next batch planned for later this quarter. You can also expect even more radical customization options in the future, from peacocking your kill marks to marking your space and citadels. Bringing more players into the fold. Our ambition has been to ease the pathway for new recruits to become battle-hardened veterans and contribute to the battles raging across New Eden. Having redeveloped the entry into the game while empowering new players with opportunities to develop the core skills for their spacefaring adventures, we can now shift our focus onto giving them more meaningful roles in the interstellar war effort. The main design question that we continue to ask ourselves is, how can we make new players become even more capable and ready to engage with empires, corporations, and alliances? Much of the Uprising expansion's focus was geared toward PvP, but we also want to enable different methods of contribution to the war effort that accommodate more playstyles. If low-sec is the war zone, then high-sec is the home front, where bullets are made and boots are stitched for the front lines. As we start to look beyond Uprising, we'll be taking the learnings from factional warfare and applying them to other areas of space, with one of our focuses being on guiding players into more parts of the sandbox, while smoothing the learning curve for novice pilots so they can become valuable recruits for experienced capsuleers. The war machine requires scores of cogs to run effectively. Every capsuleer has a role and purpose, whether it's fighting for territory on the front lines or supporting the war effort from the home front. Every item destroyed requires replacement, driving industry and mining, the backbone of New Eden. An issue many leaders face is the funding of their organizations. We hear this time and again, where player corporation and alliance leaders of all sizes and areas of space need to lean on taxes from bounties or the goodwill of a few, through donations, to run their organizations. This is simply not sufficient for the myriad of different activities that groups rely on for income, such as Abyss running, Loyalty Point, LP, Generation, Market Trading, Wormhole Blue Loot, and more. Allowing more avenues of taxable income will ensure that important programs, like SRPs, ship replacement programs, will continue to allow novice pilots to take the step into more challenging content or encourage more experienced capsuleers to risk larger ships. We have already started experimenting with this through the 1-to-1 Evermark Corporation contributions into the corporation wallet. This was just our first experimentation with a corporation LP wallet and is something we're looking to expand on this year. On funding, we have prioritized contested income, formerly known as passive income, a source valuable enough to take, hold, and defend. In Uprising, we created several new gameplay systems introduced to factional warfare that could also be applied elsewhere. The Frontline system has shown we can create high conflict zones, which are ideal candidates for these contested income sources since they create areas of vulnerability. We much prefer these high-value sites in areas of substantial risk, rather than having highly defensible systems. We believe that creating more ways for players to get involved in the war effort will set us on the path to creating the ultimate interstellar war machine, which in turn will make New Eden an even more vibrant place filled with excitement, intrigue, and infinite possibilities. Friendship machine to war machine. You've heard us talk about the friendship machine. We believe that the social connections made in New Eden are one of the most important aspects of EVE Online. People create meaningful friendships through fleets, corporations, and alliances. Running and operating these social entities can be very daunting, as well as taking the leap to join them. But getting more players involved is incredibly important, especially in fleets, as EVE is even better with friends. Watching the emerging social organizations form in the war zones has been truly inspiring, where old and new capsuleers join forces in taking on the objectives at hand. This is something we've seen in public fleets, such as NPSI fleets, over the years, and is something on which we want to put more focus in this next phase of development. As we enter the next era of EVE Online, we plan to establish a strong social network to foster powerful bonds as we build toward delivering the future of war in New Eden. The future of EVE evolved. With the Uprising expansion, immersion in EVE has been elevated to even greater heights through visual and audio enhancements backed by significant performance and UI improvements. The new Epic Upwell hangars allow you to marvel at your achievements and really convey a sense of scale for the stations and ships from the safety of the dock. Uprising also saw the release of several audio updates to enhance the sensory experience, and all of this is supported by performance improvements and a modern UI. Photon UI has been in testing for the past 6 months and now has an adoption rate of over 91%. Thanks to player feedback, there have been several improvements, new features, and fixes made in the process. Expect to see more improvements and a full launch later this quarter, bringing with it a full release of multiple overviews and more features. You can look forward to further visual enhancements on this scale and other powerful improvements to audio and performance coming to the Star Cluster as we continue to evolve EVE Online into the next decade and beyond. Uprising and beyond. Over the last couple of years, we have carried out important, foundational work that enabled us to build Uprising, our first expansion since 2018. We aim to continue releasing expansions of this caliber going forward, with additional updates, more shiny toys, and riveting world events like the Stellar Transmuter incident in between to keep New Eden vibrant, active, and well-balanced. With the Uprising expansion, we took a big step toward realizing the future of war in New Eden, and yet, there is still so much more to come. We are thrilled to reveal our high-level roadmap for EVE Online for the year ahead. Kicking off 2023. We are kicking off the year with a celebration. EVE's Lunar New Year will begin on the 19th of January, and alongside this celebration, we will be bringing simplified Chinese to tranquility. NetEase has been pioneering the frontiers of EVE Online in mainland China and building the future of our 2 servers, Serenity and Infinity, for that region. We want to recognize our Chinese-speaking players outside of mainland China that have built strong alliances and made their mark on New Eden over the past 2 decades. Furthermore, toward the end of January, the Microsoft Excel plugin, developed in collaboration with Microsoft, will be soft launching in a closed beta trial. Announced at FanFest last year, this integration will enable Omega Capsuleers to log in and directly pull in-game data into Microsoft Excel. We believe this will level the playing field by providing easy and simple access to in-game data, without requiring coding knowledge. The official launch is planned around EVE's 20th anniversary in May. For more on New Eden post-Uprising and the future of EVE, please tune into CCP TV today at 1600 Coordinated Universal Time as CCP Convict, CCP Burger and I will be conducting a deeper dive into the topics from this blog. As we enter the 3rd decade, we are one step close to our mission of having EVE live on forever. We are incredibly excited as we accelerate toward EVE Online's 20th anniversary and look forward to sharing more details on new gameplay features and live events throughout this year. The future is bright, and we look forward to seeing you in space. 07 CCP Ratati, Game Director.
Alright, so that is the breakdown that they give us of quite a bit of information there. Is there anything that you wanted to point out? I've got a couple of things that I think are kind of cool here.
Yeah, a couple of things that popped off right from the top where they're talking about since the expansion with the 75% increase in PvP kills in low sec and 11% in high sec. I thought was pretty interesting. But yeah, that's just a testament to that the last update with faction warfare, and I think we both agreed it's been pretty great.
Yeah,
there is a fatal flaw with it, what has to do with the LP in the backline systems, but again, I think it's going to balance out. But that production of capital ships, or both of that, the Navy ships production 14,000%. I mean, that's just something I had to I'm like, is that a typo or is that like a period or no? But I started thinking about my own industry, and I've never produced a faction warfare ship. I always just would LP them and swap out and get the ships. I wouldn't actually build one. But since that expansion, the introduction of the Imicus and the Catalyst, yeah, I've built a couple dozen of them now. So
yeah, I've built like 40, 50 of
it's
each.
It's cost effective. Before, it wouldn't make any sense to try to build like a
any
Vector
Navy ship.
issue.
Yeah, all of them. The blueprints sucked. They had so many of the special minerals and special items that you needed inside of it that it just cost way too much. And then the blueprint, just with the discount that we get now, makes a lot more sense to spend your LP on that blueprint than it is to spend it on just pumping out that ship. Even though there might be some, ISK-wise, if you take out LP out of the equation completely, then it might be better still just produce that ship and then trade it in. But because of the LP swap or the discount that we get, that's huge. That's a lot.
And that also goes right into the manufacturer bump. Like I said, I know a lot of people don't work through manufacturers, but now that you can build these ships so cost effectively, if you got an alt or whatever, you're just gonna cook them instead of buying them outright.
Yeah, and I think that it's going to be really interesting to see how they, bring about more faction Navy ships, and if we have more Navy ships that are going to be coming out of the line, more shiny stuff for us to spend our LP on, because I think that's a key driver that will be more important as things go for us to have things for us to really spend our LP on. Even though there's a huge store with lots of stuff to technically spend it on, there's only a few items out there that are really worth spending on. But if you can limit it to this is the only way, like faction destroyers, regardless of the ISK to LP ratio, it doesn't matter because it comes from faction warfare only. That's the only way to get it. And it just is really easy, I feel like, for me to build my own Galente ships than it is to build anybody else's faction destroyers at this point. I could go out and buy them or set up a trade, but I have to do a lot of new steps or different steps and get them from different places instead of just going to Fleet, picking up a whole bunch of blueprints, moving over to Yvangir, and boom, all of a sudden I've got, billions of ships that I've produced for the game and get blown up quite often. So
yeah, and the logistics have worked out a lot better too, because I can just bring in the materials if I don't have them there from scrap. I could bring in the materials and then build the ships and leave them there. So I'm not building the ships someplace else, then transporting them into the war zone. I can build them right there. So that's been helped out my logistics a lot.
And Fleabot kind of brings up something that kind of integrates into that. Do you use your second and third slot of your Omega for manufacturing stuff? Can a single account player make a profit in industry just running jobs on the other two alts? And I think that one of the big things here is that if you're going to be a single account, so first thing I'm going to talk about is what I do, and then I'll talk about single accounts. So I do 2 accounts because it just makes it easier for me. I have my industrial that does all of my shipping and all of my, not really necessarily all of my producing. My main has got so many skill points that I can do production on him as well. But my alt is really important in that when I'm in faction warfare, high sec is dangerous as fuck. Don't fucking go there. It's just, you're a war target. There's just too many possibilities. I also, you start dipping down into more dangerous negative security status levels in order to be not in order to be in faction warfare, but just when you're running around, you want to kill a neutral. It happens a lot, and then you kill a couple pods, and all of a sudden you've got like a massive negative to your security status. So having that second alt is really helpful for me, and I like to be able to have them logged in at the same time. It's a little easier to do trades. You can do contracts, which is costs you a little bit of ISK, but person-to-person contracts are extremely cheap, no matter how much that you're trading between each other. But with a single account, I think it is possible, definitely. You're going to take some of your skill points away, and it hurts to a small degree, but I mean, hell, you're going to do it on your main anyways, right? If you're going to haul shit on your main, then if you're in faction warfare, I highly suggest get that second character slot and train it up to do hauling for you. And don't have hauling abilities on your main character if you're, just starting out the game and you haven't already trained those type of things. But yeah, I think it's definitely the way to go, is to have one character, whether it's 2 accounts or 1 account, one character for faction warfare, one for industrial type stuff, and then the third that you could have be maybe that is your main character that is in a 0.0 alliance or whatever. But I think that you don't need a lot of skill points to be in faction warfare. So, but in general, the whole concepts of how you play EVE Online is a multi-character game. Regardless of how many accounts that you're going to be using, you definitely want one or two or three characters to do different stuff for you. Just because of what they do or where they are will limit them in a great amount of capacity. What do you think, Nightflyer?
Yeah, I've got 5 characters. I've got 2 on my first account, and then the other ones I've got picked up extra accounts. But that's what I did. I picked up my second one. I did the multi-character training with her, and yeah, she was strictly for hauling and marketing stuff. Because when I was first starting out, I made off all my money off of doing PvE, and I didn't want to tie up my main training up skills for marketing stuff. So I built her. She trained up all her marketing, got that extra couple of %, but in the end kind of pays off. And again, she can keep her status clear in all of the regions. And so she can go to Amarr, she can go to, Heck, she can go to Jita without, any issues. And yeah, then I made the one with faction warfare after I met you and started, getting into that. Because my main got pulled into Noir and was doing the mercenary for hire stuff. So yeah, you just have to have your characters, to do the jobs you want to do. As Astaroth always says this, it's 1,000, EVE is 1,000 different games, and you could be good at a couple of them, but to try to be an expert on all of them is very difficult. So the more you play the game or the more you want to get into, I would recommend getting those extra characters. Now, I play EVE every day, so it's worth the investment to me. This is, a full-time hobby for me. So, but I'm not out at the bars drinking, so my wife is supportive of it. So this is where my money goes. So it's up to you. It's up to your game style and how you want to play.
And so some of the things that they talked about also in here was that about bringing more people into the fold. Not only are they thinking about bringing ways of, you can be participating in faction warfare by joining faction warfare, but there's industrial stuff that's going on that you can do to support faction warfare, providing for factions and stuff. And hopefully there's some missions and stuff that kind of go on. Maybe you can do missions to boost advantage or to remove advantage from a system, and you don't have to be participating directly in faction warfare would be kind of cool. There's a lot of possibilities, but also they talked about moving the concepts of what they've done with faction warfare to 0.0, and I think that's really cool. Now, I'm not in 0.0, so I don't have the ability to be I have a stake in the game of this, but what 0.0 has is a super shitty version of what faction warfare has for how you fight over a system. And I think that this is a much cooler way of fighting over systems and system control than anything that 0.0 has ever put out. The passes and stuff like that, that's all interesting. That was the first iteration, right? Is that you had to control more player-owned stations, passes in a system that could only be attached to a moon. So if there was only 3 moons in a solar system, you had to have 2 out of those 3 moons underneath your control in order to control the system. Now they have iHubs and flags that kind of are I can't remember what the name of the item is, but there's a structure you put up in space that's basically your flag, and then you have the infrastructure hub, and then in order to contest those, now they spawn sites, right? The idea is that do you know much about the 0.0? I haven't dealt much with the using of the
not the setup in it. Like I said, I've been there, I've been to wormholes, and I get why people enjoy that. I understand that, the aspect or the allure of it, but it just wasn't for me and my play style.
Yeah, I mean, I like
What's
being out
fun.
in 0.0, but I never really dealt with the mechanics that they have. I can't even remember what the name of the what they call the mechanical system, the meme name that they have for it. But basically, it like spawns sites. You have to like control sites for a certain amount of time. Kind of like what Faction Warfare is doing, but it's much quicker. It's like you like trigger the system, and then you have these devices that you have to Honoros devices or something like that you use in order to like hold down the thing. I don't know, the way that they have it right now, it's like it was gamed really quickly, and the idea of how to do it was, you know, they turned into like interceptors online for a while, and there was weird stuff where I really like the way that Faction Warfare has done. There is still ways to game the system for sure, and if you're outnumbered in the way that Faction Warfare has kind of done it, it is a lot harder to win the fight, because upshipping is not sometimes a possibility if they're inside of a small plex, you know, and they're all destroyers, and there's 100 of their destroyers in a small plex. What are you gonna do? You know, you just you don't go into the small plex, but you can go to other places and fight on different front lines. But in general, I think that that's something that was really interesting to see if they can bring what they've learned about Faction Warfare territorial control system and bring it to 0.0.
And I think that'll expand a lot more with the next expansion, where they what do they have that? Where the so you or your corporation can come into Faction Warfare, the Allegiance system. So once they've implemented the Allegiance system, I think, and they've got that ironed out, I think that'll open the door for moving Faction Warfare out into nullsec,
or at least the concept.
So, the concepts of it. Yeah.
So Uprising and Beyond, they have a bunch of different stuff that they have. So they say in first quarter 2023 they have the direct enlistment, which is the Allegiance system. So I guess they're calling it direct enlistment now.
Okay.
Join Faction Warfare without leaving your corporation or alliance. Factional campaigns. Assist your empire in developing new transportation technologies in a special event. Transportation technologies, interesting. So I wonder if this will be a logistical kind of thing. Lunar New Year celebration and Chinese localization, and then EVE Online Excel or EVE Excel.
Yeah,
I think
I'll have to learn. I'm kind of a Google Sheets kind of guy, so
we'll see.
I'm gonna have to learn on Excel.
Yeah.
Go back to that. So
I'm interested to see how well it integrates in. I think it'd be kind of cool to have some cool things inside of Excel that deal with Eve. It is called Spreadsheets, Cheats in Space, so I'm interested to see what that looks like. Second quarter, they're going to be releasing an expansion, an unnamed expansion at this point, and then they're going to do 20 years of EVE Online Capsuleer Day, so this will be their, normally it's the yearly, you know, birthday of EVE Online, but this is the 20th, almost old enough to drink in the United States of America. Definitely way older than it needs to be in many UK or EU countries. In third quarter, they're going to do FanFest, which I've got tickets to. Night Flyer has tickets to, and so does Samson.
I just got my hotel room the other night. I figured I better jump in while it's quick. So yeah, we're gonna go with a hotel downtown instead of the Airbnb.
Yeah, me and Samson got an Airbnb together. I'm excited. This will be my first use of an Airbnb ever. I normally just do no hotels.
I looked a lot of nice places down there at Airbnb, but I just thought with the knowing Ghoster and I and how we went through Vegas, I think being downtown a hotel would probably be a little bit, because you're in a hotel. When you're in an Airbnb, you might have to contend with neighbors that aren't Airbnbs, and so if you're gonna get rowdy or have parties come back to your place,
good point.
So we're gonna go around that. So
good point. So party at your hotel.
Party at our hotel, absolutely. We're at the Klopp, Klopp, with umlauts or something over it. So I think it's called Klopp. Could be Klopp. I don't know. I have one question to backtrack real quick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Before we go into that fourth quarter, because they're talking about the loyalty points and the Evermarks, and from the corporate contributions.
yes.
The whole idea is, how do we tax out that stuff? And I understand that, but you own a corp and an alliance, and I am not familiar with that. So have you seen those come into a corp wallet yet?
I actually I have not done with anything with the Evermark corporation wallet thing, and that is something that I should actually start digging into a little bit more. I wonder what I can actually do with that. I'm sure I've got some, just from me and I know Samson. I don't know if you've done any of the Evermark stuff, but I know that we've got some people that are doing it in the corporation. I'm interested to see what I can do with that, and I'm glad you brought this up too, because I forgot that this was something I wanted to talk about. Taxing of LP is a possibility. The idea of, or at least allow a corporation or alliance to gain LP points, I think is huge for faction warfare. It allows us to have, it's the same of the idea of how do you support SRP in 0.0? You tax people. Well, there's nothing to tax in faction warfare, really. There are barely any bounties that you're going to get. Almost everything has to do with LP and selling on the market. So you might own a market hub like Hey Dealey's, HQ, the pizza that owns that. Those guys, are making some money off of running like a market hub and stuff. But really, there is not a good way to make SRP level money and having like fleet doctrines ready to be handed out to people and stuff like that. A lot of that just comes from rich people and collaboration at this point. Like, I know me and Samson do a lot of like, well, we're just going to build 150 different ships and then just start handing them out to people. And just be, there is a lot of money in faction warfare. Just being lazy. I mean, I am really lazy about faction warfare. I'd say I comparatively to the amount that I used to how much effort I put into ratting back in the day when I was trying to make just a buck, when I was like ticking out 50 million ISK per hour, and I was like, that's good enough for me. I'm just, and I just, I didn't really have a lot of per se effort as much as I have to put into in faction warfare, in the sense of what I actually did for that activity, but how long I did it. I would spend days, like, just, having my account, every minute that I could have an account up, I was out there ratting, because 98% of the time it was safe, and 2% of the time I might die. And if I just watch TV and stuff like that while I'm doing, and I was younger too, so I was into that, like, sitting at my computer, just having EVE Online running in the background, doing ratting and stuff like that. Passive income, or well, basically passive income, because you do it in like an Ishtar. Comparatively to how much effort I put into, or how much time I put into faction warfare, is magnitudes. I'm talking like 1/10, 1/20th the amount of time that I spend in faction warfare, and yet I feel like I'm making billions of ISK. I mean, off of this easy, and each site is giving you like 28 million for 10 minutes of gameplay. It's huge. Now, you might get fucked with during that 10 minutes of gameplay. And if I play for an hour or two, I've definitely probably gotten into 1 or 2 or 5 fights in the last hour just trying to make some money. But it's more fun. It's less time, more fun, easy to make a lot of money. And I feel like just my fucking around in faction warfare is enough to fund a small corporation by itself with supplying ships and shit. However, once this becomes something that is taxable, or some kind of ratio of where, even better would be that it's not taxable, that it just, you get LP for your corporation for having people go out and doing these activities, and it's like a set amount. They're doing 1-for-1 for Evermark, I believe. But I don't think that'll be what that's way too much for faction warfare LP, the payouts that we get, and way too much. Like, the Evermarks, of course, are just like item, things that you can put on your ship and stuff like that, cosmetic stuff. Faction Warfare LP is, makes items, so I don't think that that's going to be one for one at all. But it would be cool if it's interesting, because if it does come down to attacks, I'm debating of whether or not we use it as a recruitment status of being like, no, we don't charge LP tax. Like, because then I don't have to, I can still supply things the way that I already do. But it can be a really big drive to be like, listen, your money's your money. You join us, your LP is your LP. Go out there and don't get taxed. And then if like the NPC corporations and big alliances are putting like, 5, 10, 15, 20%, like you see out in Nullsec, tax on LP, it's a big draw to come over to us and hang out with us instead, because we won't be taxing you. But also it is a big draw to be like, hey man, if you have 100 people that are out there flexing and you're making a lot of LP for your alliance or corporation, you can really fund some cool ass operations.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, we are coming up on almost 2 hours into this podcast, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it on up here. Thank you, Night Flyer, so much for coming on out and going over all of this. We'll get deeper into some... I think next episode I want to do like a breakdown of a couple things, and then next episode that you would be on, I think we would be maybe doing like a year breakdown of what's going what has happened in the Warzone and stuff like that. Let me pull up here. So thank you all for watching. If you're interested in joining the war effort, go ahead and put an application into Golden Age Stories in game. That's the Federation Frontline alliance that we belong to. If you want to, you can always watch us live on Twitch every Sunday at 2300 Eve time. That's 5 p.m. Central Time. And if you missed the show live, you can always watch us or listen to us on our podcast, The Federation Frontline Report, on Spotify, iTunes. We got a YouTube channel, and you can pretty much find us on any podcasting platforms. A lot of them do support video. If it does, you can watch us on there, or you can just listen to us if it doesn't. Or if you like to listen to us while you're driving, don't watch us if you're driving. Stay safe out there. You can always check out our website, federationfrontline.com, for more information on our alliance or our podcast, as well as some information on EVE Online, or links to a lot of our friends and affiliates. If you have news that you'd like us to talk about on the show, or if you'd like to be a guest, or have an after-action report you'd like us to talk about, definitely shoot over a message to Frozen Fallout in-game. You can hit up Night Flyer in-game as well as Gwenevit Kenyon, that's Samson's character, that you can hit up as well. And thank you all for watching. Have a great night.
Good night, everybody.